Things that I don't want you guys to fall into the trap for. And these are the few things that I'm hearing from Cowboy Nation. And shout out to y'all, man. I love y'all to the core. But please do not fall into the trap saying, Dorrance Armstrong, he's putting up the same level of production that Randy Gregory did last season. No. Before you say that, purchase the All 22 and rewatch the film on Dorrance Armstrong sacks. Not all sacks are created equal, by the way. And a little news flash. A few of those sacks came because of Randy Gregory, and another came because of Micah Parsons. Now, I'm not throwing any shade at Dorrance Armstrong. I believe he's a good rotational piece for this Cowboys front. On top of that, Dante Fowler, I look at him as a guy that maybe under Dan Quinn, you work him into the system, he will be right now your starting edge rusher over Dorrance Armstrong, right? And of course, on the opposite side, you will have DeMarcus Lawrence. But I believe the power of Dan Quinn, his development, and the way he liked to put his hands on the players and develop them can go a long way. And keep in mind, he only had, I think, half of a year with Dan Quinn in Atlanta. So he didn't get a chance to have their full time with Dan Quinn, by the way. But neither here nor there. That's water under the bridge. Because we can all say this, Cowboy Nation. If you get Dante Fowler of 2019, he had 11.5 sacks. And that situation goes back to what I'm saying with Dorrance Armstrong. Not all sacks are created equal, right? Because think about it. He had Aaron Donald in the inside, and they had some other boys that required, a lot of attention. But this is how we got to do this thing, Cowboy Nation. So that's why I believe everybody banging on the table saying, hey, Za'Darius Smith, he's still out there. The Cowboys said that they are showing strong interest in him, and they should go out there and take a real good look at him and pick him up. They should do that. They should flat out do it. Money shouldn't be an issue now. We got a lot of money that's available. Let me repeat, we have a lot of money that's available. Matter of fact, we have north of $22 to $23 million available. And we're going to have an extra $10 million to kick in after June 2nd. And on top of that, whenever the Cowboys decide to do that long-term contract or long-term deal for Dalton Schultz, you're going to have more money. So money is not the problem. Right now, the Cowboys got enough money to go ahead and pay Jaron Kearse, enough money to go ahead and pay the Honey Badger if you want him. You got enough money to go out there and will and deal. Or, excuse me, Bobby Wagner. You got enough money to go out there and reach out and pick him up, even if it's for a cup of coffee. But I get it. The Cowboys like to sit back and wait and chill after the draft when they make majority of their free agent signings. I believe the James Washington as well as the Dante Fowler was just them trying to figure out a way to escape some of the pressure from the outside noise. Somebody gonna say, nah, these Cowboys ain't worrying about the outside noise. Yes, they do. They listen. Trust me, they listen. But they have a core philosophy on how they like to attack this draft. Now, granted, right now, they hitting the philosophy where it's less is more. Because now that we look at everything and all of the moves that they made, if they really wanted to keep Amari Cooper, they could have figured that out. And we would have respected the Cowboys more if they just came out and said, you know what, Cowboy Nation, we just don't like Amari Cooper. We don't like him. We like to move on and go with someone else. But they said the same thing, but in a coy type of way. But that's a story of a different day. There's water under the bridge. He's gone over there to Cleveland land, and he's going to have a successful time over there, right? But the Cowboys heading into the draft, that's where the meat and potatoes are at for the Cowboys. I think the scouting department do a wonderful job, and I think the scouting department will figure out a way. If we can't land Za'Darius Smith, and if we can't land, of course, Jadeveon Clowney, who's not even on the radar right now, and we'll find out how this thing is all going to unshake and shake down and everything. But normally this happens after the draft. Oh, on top of that, Cowboy Nation, hear me out. Anthony Hitchens is still available. And normally the Cowboys like to go back on their retreads and bring that guy in for a cup of coffee. And that may happen after the draft. It all depends on whether or not this particular team get the guy that they really want in the draft. And if they don't, they pivot, they backpedal, and they go into the free agent and they pull a few more guys. We got money now, so money is not the problem. Tyrann Curse deal need to be done, right, before he signed with someone else. Or if he's not going to be on anybody else's team, then they probably gambling and saying, hey, this is a hard number that we agreed to, and this is where we're going to stand at, and this is what we're going to stand on. And then after the draft, they bring the man in and say, come on over. Think about this. KZ, Hooker, Tyrann Curse, all of those guys were pretty much guys after the draft last season. So that's how these guys operate and roll. Even Keanu Neal, right? After the draft type of stuff. Now, Keanu Neal said that, hey, he would like to be a safety again. Well, coverage been his issue his entire career, and I don't think that going back to safety helped him. And playing linebacker, we had issues with him covering. That's why he's on the street, and that's why the Cowboys said, okay, they read up Luke Gifford, they read up, of course, LVE for a pretty much a one-year rental. And we'll figure out what LVE is going to bring to the table that we already don't know, right? So all of those things goes back to the core philosophy of, hey, we like our guys, we wait till after the draft to pretty much dance in the free agency, and we trust our scouting evaluation for the nation. But they do have enough money, Cowboys, to go out there and grab the Honey Badger, to grab Za'Darius Smith, as well as my guy Bobby Wagner. But they're not gonna do it anytime soon. If so, we'll do another video and talk about it, right? But post me your thoughts, post me your concerns, but that's just how it goes. Oh, I'm gonna touch on this Randy Gregory conversation about the toxic fan base and everything. Newsflash, everybody toxic. Every fan base toxic. If you don't believe it, just type it in Twitter. What this fan base said about that and what this fan base said about this. If you're looking for it, you will find it. And right now, believe it or not, whether the Jones family did him a solid in the past or whether or not they just pretty much didn't do right by him, he's an enemy. He ain't wearing the silver and blue. So all of that stuff he's talking, yeah, it can be true now because he's not in the fold. And you guys shouldn't pay a lot of attention to it. He ain't representing silver and blue. And if he wanted to play for the Cowboys, guess what? He'll be playing for the Cowboys right about now. Ain't nothing to do with the contract language and everything. They could have wrote that thing in Crayolas, right? Crayon. If he wanted to play for the Cowboys, he'd be like, man, forget that, man. I'm finna play. Grab me some oodles and noodles. Let me roll one. I'm finna go play for the boys. So people do what they want to do, and he found, good. Maybe he knows something good over there in Denverland. That's where he want to be. So that's him, right? Cowboy Nation, get out of y'all feelings. Let's get back into this thing. Let's continue to grind and shine. That's been my time. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go.